Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, please hit that like button. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. Now let's get right into it. Born Nicholas Gene Carter on January 28th in 1980. This would make him about 42 as of this video. Born in Jamestown, New York, to parents Jane and Robert Carter, a veteran who ran a retirement home. Nick was the oldest of 5 siblings, Leslie, twins Aaron, Bobby Jean, and Angel. And he did have a stepsister named Jean. When Nick was just 4 years old, the family moved and settled in Ruskin, Florida, a state near Tampa, where his parents managed a retirement home, as I said earlier, called Carden Villa Homes. Growing up, Nick's mom enrolled him in voice lessons after she heard him singing one afternoon in their backyard. Nick ended up attending the prestigious school of Carl and DeMarco's School of Theater. Nick acted in his first commercial at the tender age of 10. While doing several auditions, Nick met future bandmates AJ and Howie. Now, in doing my research about Nick, I came across that he actually had a tumultuous childhood growing up. Nick stated himself that his parents were constantly fighting and screaming violently at each other in front of him and all his siblings, going up to each and every one of the children and making them choose which parent they would live with if they were to split up. Wow, that's crazy. So now people, when we say relationship goals, I don't know if people should be saying that, because outside of the spotlight and social media, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. In Nick's case, his parents stayed married until 2004, which made Nick 24 at the time. So if they had been arguing since Nick was little, all the photos you see them all happy together were probably meant putting on a front for the cameras. I'm assuming they thought that their children, which were celebrities, Nick and Aaron, careers would be affected by them splitting up. Now, performing was Nick's most giant escape from those problems. And at the age of 12, Nick auditioned for the Disney's Mickey Mouse Club and to be in a group called the Backstreet Boys. Nick was actually given the choice, but had to choose one or the other. Now, if he were to choose the Mickey Mouse Club, he would get a $50,000 contract. But he chose to go with the new group, the Backstreet Boys. So, at the age of 13, on April of 1993, Nick, AJ, Brian, Howie, and Kevin all became members of the Backstreet Boys. Now, when Nick was 15, he had stated that he had started smoking weed. Nick came clean on an episode of Dr. Phil and admitted that he had started smoking weed at the age of 15. He also stated that it quickly escalated to ecstasy, Vicodin, oxycodone, and cocaine, along with drinking alcohol. On May of 1996, the group rose to fame with their international debut self-titled album, Backstreet Boys, which debuted at #1 on the Billboard's Top 200s chart, ended up being certified platinum and now diamond, selling over 10 million copies worldwide. In August of 1997, the group released their second album, called Back, which debuted at #1 on the Billboard's Top 200s charts, and also ended up being certified platinum, then diamond, also selling over 10 million copies worldwide. On May of 1999, they rose to superstardom with their third studio album called Millennium. Their third album also debuted at #1 on the Billboard's Top 200 charts. Now, this album ended up selling over 24 million copies worldwide. And again, another diamond. On November 2000, the group released their fourth album called Black and Blue. Their fourth album debuted at #1 on the Billboard's Top 200 charts, and this album ended up selling 15 million copies worldwide. another diamond. Now, if you kept count so far, all of their albums have went diamond. Now, in January of 2002, Nick got into an argument with a woman at the Pop City nightclub in Tampa, Florida. And when officers told him to leave the nightclub, he refused, causing them to arrest him and charge him with misdemeanor resisting a law enforcement officer without violence. The charges were later dismissed. Nick decided then to release his first solo album due to the height of their success and him now being well known. The album was called Now or Never and was released on October 2002. The album debuted at number 17 on the Billboard's Top 200 charts and ended up being certified gold. Nick also did some acting in 2002, 2003, and 2004 on TV shows such as American Dreams, 8 Simple Rules, and The Hollow. In 2004, Nick decided to move to LA and ended up jumping headfirst right into the party scene. When Nick was partying the hardest and heaviest and drinking all kinds of alcohol and taking all kinds of pills and doing hardcore drugs such as cocaine, as stated by Nick during his Dr. Phil interview. Now, in the beginning of 2004, Nick began dating Paris Hilton, who at the time was the biggest reality television star. 7 months later, the two called it quits, both parties saying that their relationship was very tumultuous, as there were assault allegations on Nick's part, even though Nick completely denies hitting Paris. There was photos released of Paris with a bruised face. Now, Paris never called the cops or pressed charges, so it is really unknown as if Nick was the one who assaulted her. But a lot of people are saying that he did, allegedly. Now, on March of 2005, Nick was arrested again for alleged drunk driving in Huntington Beach, Florida. Nick ended up pleading guilty and had to do 3 years of probation. Also was ordered to pay $1,200 in fines and had his driving privileges restricted for 90 days. And was required to complete a 3-month alcohol education program. On June 2005, the Backstreet Boys released their 5th album called Never Gone, which debuted at number 3 on the Billboard Top 200 charts and ended up going 3 times platinum. On October 2006, Nick and his family participated in their family reality TV show on E! Network called House of Carter. Unfortunately, the show only lasted for 1 season with only 8 episodes. The show does show that the siblings did have a dysfunctional relationship amongst each other, and it was really bad. I'll tell you that. I would recommend, if you guys find it, go see it. It is pretty entertaining, but you can clearly see that the family did have a lot of problems, mostly the children. Now, on October 2007, the Backstreet Boys released their 6th studio album called Unbreakable, which debuted at number 7 on the Billboard's Top 200 charts and sold almost 2 million copies. Now, that's a lot, but it's definitely way less than their diamond platinums. Now, on October 2008, Nick met his now wife, Lauren Kitt, a fitness trainer and competitor and YouTuber, at a house party. Also in 2008, Nick had told Dr. Phil that he was 60 pounds overweight and had been diagnosed with a life-threatening heart disease called cardiomyopathy. I'm so sorry, I butchered that word. The doctors told him it was drug and alcohol induced. He was abusing alcohols and drugs so severely that it caused a buildup of toxins in his heart, which led to him developing the disease. This caused Nick to decide to change his life right then and there, as he did not like the person he had become with the drugs and alcohol. Nick then decided he wanted better, so he decided to settle down, and him and Lauren Kitt quickly began dating. At this time, Nick began doing multiple guest appearances to address his past drug and alcohol addictions, which it also included, besides Dr. Phil, Ellen, and the doctors. Now, on the shows, Nick talked about how he knew he had hit rock bottom. Nick went on to say he would remember waking up in the mornings, not knowing who the person was laying next to him, where he even was, having scratches on his back, and don't even know how they got there. Wow. Also, he stated he also, the next day, always tried remembering what happened the night before. He went on to say that's when he knew he had to clean up his act, and this put him on a path to sobriety. He stated that one of his fellow Backstreet Boy members, Kevin, told him to read a book by Norman Vincent called Why Some Positive Thinkers Get Powerful Results. After Nick read this book, he decided to turn his life around and started a healthier lifestyle, and said working out definitely helped his self-esteem, and he just started replacing drinking and going to parties with healthier things like sports and video games. On October of 2009, the Backstreet Boys released their 7th studio album called This Is Us, which debuted at number 9 on the Billboard Top 200 charts and went platinum. Now, again, even though it hasn't sold like in the 90s, they're still hitting the top 10 charts for now over a decade. Now, May of 2011, Nick finally released his much anticipated second solo album called I'm Taking Off. Sadly, the album didn't chart or even go gold like his first one did. Tragically, in 2012, his sister Leslie passed from a drug overdose at the age of 25. Nick told Dr. Phil that his family blamed him because they said he did not pay to put her in rehab when she begged him to. Therefore, this caused Nick to not go to the funeral. And to this day, he denies this allegation. Wow, that is really sad. But please, let me know down in the comments, or you can DM me. My Instagram will be in the description down below. If you would like me to do a video on his sister Leslie, as I have already did one on, of course, the brother Aaron and now Nick. Back to the story. On February of 2013, Nick proposed to Lauren while vacationing in Florida Keys. On July of 2013, Nick went back to work with the Backstreet Boys on their 8th studio album called In a World Like This, which debuted at number 5 on the Billboard's Top 200 charts, but unfortunately this time only went gold. Yikes. Now, in September of that same year, Nick released his first memoir called Facing the Music and Living to Talk About It. Nick decided to do a collab album with, surprisingly, an artist that was not actually one of his bandmates. He decided to do a collab album with none other than Jordan Knight from the band New Kids on the Block. While working on the album, Nick also decided to return to reality TV, this time with his, at the time, fiancée, Lauren, called I Heart Nick. This followed him and his fiancée up until the day of their wedding, and film the day of their wedding, which took place on April 12th, 2014 in Santa Barbara, California. Now, on September 2014, they released their first debut album called Nick and Knight, after Nick's first name and Jordan's last name. This album debuted at number 24 on the Billboard Top 200 charts. They then went on to tour a few months in order to support the album, while Nick was working on his third album during the tour. In September of 2015, Nick took part of the 21st season of Dancing with the Stars and came in second place that season. November of 2015, he decided to release his third studio album called All American. Unfortunately, on January of 2016, Nick was arrested yet again, this time for misdemeanor battery, as he had got in an altercation with a bartender at the Hog's Breath Saloon in Keys West, Florida. Because the bartender refused to continue to serve Nick alcohol, as a bartender could clearly see that he was already severely intoxicated. On March 2016, the Backstreet Boys announced that they would begin an exclusive headlining residency at the Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas, Nevada. On April 2016, Nick and his wife Lauren welcomed their first son, Odin Carter. Tragically, on May 16, 2017, Nick's father passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack. He was 65 years old. Sad. Now, on September of 2018, Nick and his wife revealed that they had suffered a miscarriage earlier in the year, but then gave us good news by announcing that they were expecting their second child, their first daughter. On January 2019, the Backstreet Boys released their ninth studio album called DNA, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard's Top 200 charts, selling 1 million albums. Woohoo! Now they're back at number 1. This is full circle. Wow, almost 20 years later. On October 2nd, 2019, Nick and wife Lauren welcomed their daughter, I don't even know how to say the first name, Saoirse, Saoirse, Carter. You know me and butchering names, so please forgive me, Nick and Lauren. Now, this news was shadowed by the media finding out that Nick had requested a restraining order against his own little brother, Aaron. Nick said he filed the restraining order because Aaron said that he had thoughts of killing his then pregnant wife, Lauren. Thankfully, the restraining order was granted November of 2019. Now, Nick and Aaron have not talked since. Again, we know what happened. If you see my last video, if you see my video on Aaron, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. Now, Nick never got to talk to Aaron before he passed, and he is also estranged with his mother, Jane. So that is pretty sad, but, what can you do now? Now, like I said, Nick is also estranged with his mother, Jane, and it's widely known that she suffered from alcohol problems that got worse when her daughter, Leslie, had passed away. Nick's mom went on the show Doctors with then brother Aaron, who convinced her to enter rehab. But unfortunately, she only stayed for 2 months and then checked herself out. Jane went on to tell Aaron in one of his Instagram lives that she has never met any of Nick's grandchildren. So it could be due to, her not sticking it with rehab and her continuously to drink. Could be primary reasons why Nick has stayed away and not brought the grandkids around. But who knows? Now, initially when I was doing this video, right in the middle of doing this video, is when Aaron tragically passed away on November 5th, 2022. So I had to come back and amend the video. So that's why I'm barely putting it out now. And I wanted to make a video on Aaron first because I was going to initially put this one out first and then change my mind as that one I felt needed to be out first because I was going to do it anyways. But since he passed, it just makes sense to talk about that one first and then back it up with this one. Like I was saying, Aaron, he did tragically pass away on November 5th, 2022 at the age of 34. He was found in his bathtub by his housekeeper. To date, how he passed was still unknown. Now, I wish I would have started both videos sooner because now YouTube is flooded with Aaron videos. But again, who knew that was going to happen? Some people in his inner circle said that they did see it because after he lost custody, he was going down a darker path, while others said that he was actually trying to clean his act up to get his son back. So who knows who's telling the truth? Of course, the truth went down with Aaron. Anyways, well, his brother did actually make a video, telling that, he did let everything go and he, Aaron will be missed. Now, I bet Nick did have it hard because, like I said before, he hadn't talked to Aaron since the restraining order. So let's get back to Nick's story since this is Nick's video. Again, if you haven't seen Aaron's video, I would definitely recommend you to watch that, as I did state a lot of skeletons that Aaron did have in his closet, such as Nick's. That's why I really wanted to release Nick's first because he was the older brother. But, again, things happen. Now, on September of 2020, Nick participated in the 4th season of The Masked Singer, where he finished in 3rd place. In January of 2021, Nick announced on his Instagram that he and his wife were expecting their 3rd child, another girl, and had her April 22nd, 2021. Her name is Pearl Carter. In October of this year, the Backstreet Boys released their very first Christmas album called A Very Backstreet Christmas. Sadly, on November 5th, Nick would suffer yet another loss to a 3rd family member as his only brother, Aaron, tragically passed away at his home in Lancaster, California. He was 34 years old. His body was found in the bathtub by his housekeeper. It is said that his body had already started decomposing by the time the housekeeper found him in mercury yellow color. An autopsy was performed and the cause of death was drowning, but pending a toxicology report, it is suspected that he had got high right before his death, as cops found a bunch of compressed air canisters at his home. Now, again, I did go into detail about him having a huffing issue, but again, that will be on Aaron's video. So again, if you haven't gone and watched that, please do. Again, you will be very entertained and you will find out a lot of information. Nick says he has been sober from drugs and alcohol for 5 years. He is still married to Lauren. They have been married for 8 years with their 3 children, Odin, Sarosi, and Pearl. Odin 6, Sarosi 3, and Pearl 1. And again, I'm so sorry I'm butchering the 3-year-old's name. Again, forgive me, Lauren and Nick. Now, the family are happily living in Florida. If you do like my videos, please like, comment, and subscribe, as I am new to YouTube, as this will help me in the algorithm. Thanks.